Hello, this is Matthew Robert Payne, and this is a short video called Driven by Eternity Book Review by John Bevere. I'm not sure if all those words will be in the title when I'm finished. Depends what fits on the YouTube title. I just read Driven by Eternity by John Bevere over the last couple of days, 315 pages, I think. So it was quite a read. I read it on a Kindle. It presents really well on my computer, and I read it on Kindle. Many people who are part of the finished works, hyper grace sort of camp would find many places to object in this book. This book talks about certain people who've given their lives to Jesus, not qualifying and having a life that disqualifies them, and a life that ends up with them going to hell. The book has a fictional story, an allegory that it follows. It follows the lives of a number of people, some of which end up in the book's fictional place of what represents hell, and some of them end up in the fictional place that represents heaven. We see a good look into the fictional characters' lives, their commitment to the Master, which represented Jesus, their lives, the mistakes they made, the choices they made, and we see their eventual outcomes with even the levels of punishment in hell being more intense for some of the members than for others. Jesus shared in one of his parables, shared at one place in the Bible, that some people will be given a few stripes and some people will be given many stripes. Jesus talked about varying degrees of suffering people are going to go through according to their works. Of course, it also talks about the characters in the allegory that go to the story's fictional heaven, and it talks about about 6 characters that went to heaven, what choices they made in their Christian life, what choices they made, and what they actually did, and how that actually resulted in their reward in fictional heaven. Some were given places of authority, some were given places of great authority, and some were given the lowest places in the heaven. The whole idea of different levels in heaven, the whole idea of different levels of reward in heaven is something that I know Christians don't like. Many Christians like to think that they can just go to church on Sunday and live any sort of life they choose and end up in the same place as an evangelist or someone who served the Lord with all of their heart. People don't like to consider that they're going to actually be rewarded according to their works. There's popular grace teachers that teach that Jesus paid the price and did all the works that are necessary, and trying to do works on earth as a Christian is folly, and it's tantamount to trying to earn your way into heaven. This is not true, and many teachers who teach that works are not necessary are teaching something that's false, and I can assure you that you'll get a good understanding of what is going to disqualify you from going to heaven as a Christian, and you'll get a good idea of what is going to allow you to get maximum reward in heaven and come off really well in the judgment seat in the judgment of Christians in heaven. This was a fabulous book. It was captivating. It was thoroughly indexed, thoroughly richly supplied with scriptures in the right places at the right times, backing up the right arguments, scripture after scripture, story after story, and really careful and well-written explanation and dialogue that was written by John Bevere. He did a fabulous job. As a person who has written over 50 books myself, I know what it takes to put together an argument. I know what it takes to prepare a book of that size, and I know how demanding it can be to put together a book that not only reads well, but is well presented and well supported with scripture. And I have to say that John Bevere did a marvellous job. Some people who write reviews on the book would say he's legalistic and tough, and he's trying to mix his law with his grace. And as someone who's been legalistic and gone into hyper grace myself and then come back to a more balanced, round view, which some people would accuse me of being legalistic, I can say that this was a very well-researched book, a very well-written book, and he has got an edition which is a 10-year anniversary edition, and he thoroughly updated it and reviewed it. There's some talk that John Bevere has renounced this book and no longer supports this book, but this book was produced in 2017, this updated edition, so it's obvious it was just a year ago, so he fully supports the message of this book and hasn't backed away from the import or the warning that is clearly evident in this book. I really encourage you to read this. I think that every Christian should read this book. It'll be a book that I'll be recommending and requesting readers of mine to follow up and read for themselves. And it's really encouraged me to come online and produce a book, produce a video book review of the book. So I encourage you to read it. I know it's a big thing to spend money for many Christians, and I know it's a big thing for many Christians to take the time to read 300 pages, but I really feel that this could save your eternal destiny, or certainly if you are destined for heaven, it could drastically improve the rewards that you will receive in heaven if you read this book, understand this book, and apply its principles. I pray that this review has blessed you and encouraged you, and if you've got any comments on it, please comment on the comments below. God bless you and keep you, and may you be encouraged with other videos of mine on YouTube. God bless.